Hello, I'm Anadi from SoundsOrange.com, and today I'm speaking from the heart with Rajen Peter Campbell. Welcome, Rajen.
Hi, Anadi. Nice to be here.
It's great to chat to you. Really great.
My pleasure.
Yay. I'd like to talk to you about your involvement with Deva, Premal and Miten.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people realise, but you've been quite, I don't know what the word is, a strong arm, shall we say, in helping to promote those guys and helping to run their business. Is that correct?
It's sort of correct. It's been an unfolding journey for 10 years now.
10 years, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
We got working together in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. Deva and Miten were just becoming quite well known in America at that time. I just step back for a moment. I've known Miten since the 80s.
Right.
He and I were buddies a long time back, and we'd stayed in touch on and off over the years. And Deva and Miten came to stay with me in Germany. I was living in Germany at the time, and they came to stay for a few days and were telling me all about their business and how exciting it was and how it was becoming bigger and bigger and taking up more of their time to look after it, and they needed some help. And we sort of persuaded each other that working together could be fun. And it has been.
That's great. That's what business should be, right?
Right.
Fun. Passionate and fun.
Passionate is very important.
I think
And
so.
keeping a humorous side to it is also very important. Too many people take business too seriously, and it then gets out of the overall context of things.
I agree totally with that. I really do. I would like to come back to your meeting with Deva and Miten. You say you've known Miten since the 80s. Was that anything to do with the Osho ashram?
Yeah, absolutely. We lived together in Medina, which was a big commune in Suffolk in the 80s. Miten was singing beautiful songs to us on our celebration evenings, and he and I got to know each other. And then a few years later we met again when I was living in Devon, and a school, private boarding school, Co-Swan School, had come into existence, and Miten was there, I think, as a sports teacher, teaching the boys football.
Oh, right.
Maybe some of the girls too.
Right.
And doing a little music on the side, but basically he was following a different path.
Right.
In those days, yeah.
Wow, I can't see Miten as a teacher. I'm sure he's very good at it.
Well, as a football teacher, Miten, like myself, has a great passion for football. And you get past a certain age, so playing it's not so easy anymore, but the passion's still there. He's a big Arsenal fan.
He is, absolutely, yeah. The reason I say that is he's so comfortable on stage. I mean, both Deva and Miten, they look like they're playing to people in their front room when they're up on stage.
You know, they've been doing this together for 18 years.
Yeah, 18 years.
And prior to that, although when I met Miten, he was only a part-time musician. Before that, he'd had a serious career as a successful singer-songwriter.
Absolutely.
Playing in some big gigs all over Europe, fronting some big acts like Fleetwood Mac and Raikuda and others on tour. So he did his apprenticeship as a young man on the road in the rock and roll world, and learnt a lot of skills there which he still uses today. Yeah.
And I can see that. I mean, he really has that professional, relaxed air on stage. But to come back to you guys, so you decided, at the beginning of the 2000s, to work together.
You know, at that time I was doing lots of other things, and they needed some specific help with structuring their business. So I started helping them for a few hours a week.
Right.
And a few hours became a few more hours, and then I needed some help, so I hired somebody to help me. And through this last 10 years, we now have a team of maybe 15 people helping Deva and Miten with their worldwide business, which is actually 6 or 7 different businesses. Their business is completely independent. They're not signed to a record label or don't have a manager that they're tied to in the conventional sense in the music business. They've determined to do everything completely independently, and I've been privileged to support them in doing that. So we make our own records, we duplicate and distribute our own records physically and digitally. We organise our touring worldwide ourselves. We organise singing groups all over the place, from Mexico, Costa Rica, Australia, and in Europe, in Corfu in the summer. And we do everything behind the scenes to make all that happen. All the planning, all the organising, all the travel booking, all the finances, all the contracting, the licensing of the music to people that want to use it for soundtracks and to support their yoga video or whatever it might be.
Of course.
So there's a whole range of different businesses that we actually run together.
I think that's quite amazing. I mean, for any musician to achieve independence is quite a feat, let alone for a musician or musicians to absolutely have control over all of that.
Yeah, traditionally, of course, that's not been the way it's worked.
Of course.
Artists traditionally signed to a record label,
Yeah.
and the record label exploits them, hopefully to both parties' mutual satisfaction, but unfortunately sometimes that doesn't work out. And we've all heard the stories of breakups between artists and their label. And so Deva and Miten, in their wisdom, have always avoided getting trapped in that way, and have been very successful at staying independent. And of course, staying independent means that you have to fund everything yourself.
Of course.
The advantage of signing with a label is that they front making the next album and front your touring with real cash, and hopefully there's some left for the artist at the end. Whereas we have to fund it all ourselves, so we have to be pretty prudent on how we manage the business. So we have a good process of figuring out how much we want to spend on things and controlling the costs and making sure there's money left for the next tour or the next album.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? That the risk involved. If you spend all this money on a tour and no one turns up, it's not falling back on the record label.
That's right.
It's your own.
So in some respects, the touring career for Deva and Miten has grown organically, and has grown at a pace that's to some extent been determined by finances. We haven't spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on promotion to try and create audience growth double or triple in a year's time, as often happens when someone has a hit record and suddenly from nowhere they can track 5,000 people to a concert. That's not been the way it has been for us. Sometimes we might have liked it to be like that, but actually we've had good, solid organic growth, and in the 10 years that I've been involved, our audience has grown fourfold.
Wow.
So from 200-300 people at a concert, now we get 1,200-1,300 people.
Wow.
And a few weeks ago played in Moscow to 3,500 people.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So our approach of prudent development has sort of been vindicated by good, solid growth. Yeah.
See, I find that quite interesting. I mean, that's quite encouraging to say someone like me running a business that I haven't got huge amounts of money to throw at advertising and et cetera, to realise that you guys have actually done it organically, and you've only spent as much money as you've got to spend, rather than relying on people investing hundreds of thousands of pounds, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, it is particular to what you're doing, of course.
Of course.
What Deva and Miten are doing are providing people with a beautiful experience, an experience which touches people sometimes in ways that they've never been touched before, that they never expect. I love being at a concert and talking to first-timers who've not seen Deva and Miten before, and afterwards asking them what happened for them, and oftentimes getting the same feedback of, oh, I never imagined it would be like that. I've never experienced anything like that. And it's so rewarding for us all who are involved to feel that the work that they're doing is so specially appreciated by people. And of course those people tell their friends, you've got to see these guys, you must come to a concert, it's amazing, the experience.
Right.
And so a lot of our growth is organic in the sense of networking, community, developing our community, and getting people more and more interested in the work, the mantras. Because Deva and Miten's passion is to encourage people to understand and use mantra practice in their life as part of their yoga work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I love their albums, and you know, things like the way Deva sings the Gayatri mantra, it's just beautiful beyond belief, actually. You know.
Well, it's true. The albums are very entertaining at one level, but the real mission and purpose behind the albums is to open people up to a higher level of personal development.
Absolutely.
And using mantras, a traditional tool that goes back thousands of years, is a key to that.
Yeah.
In fact, Deva called her latest album Password for this very reason, that the title of the album and the contents of the album reflect the fact that mantras are a password, in a way, to another realm.
Absolutely. Higher level of consciousness.
Exactly.
Or, yeah. That's a great, you know, a very commendable path to be taken, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's very easy for those guys to go on the road and sing songs like Fly High, for example, but like you say, they're actually concentrating more on the mantras.
Well, it's a combination.
Of course.
The mantras are the key, the password, but of course the beauty of a Deva, Premal and Miten concert is the complementary nature of Deva's renditions of these ancient mantra texts to contemporary melodies, and Miten interspersing his beautiful lyrics and spiritual songs and developing the combination of those two things. And so it produces a very eclectic mixture of experience.
Absolutely.
And this is what blows people away when they come to a concert, that, you know, they come expecting maybe entertainment or some specific aspect, and get at such a broad range of an offering, from songs that they can join in on, mantras that they can chant to, comedy, humour, entertainment. We produced a little biography book a few years ago of Deva and Miten's growth and work together, and we called it More Than Music.
Right.
And I love the title. I still love the title, because actually what they do is way more than music.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at the concert last night, you only had to look around to see people's faces to realise that.
It's a delight.
It is an absolute delight. It's like looking at angels, right? It really is.
Yes, for me, being involved in the work is so special.
Of course.
Because I've got my modest part to play. I don't go on stage, I don't perform, but I'm the backroom guy who does the paperwork and the contracts and helps hold the purse strings sometimes and this sort of thing.
Of course.
But it's still very, very valuable for me to be involved in it in that way, and to see this growth and beauty being brought to more and more people as time goes by.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that must be so rewarding. That really must. Yeah, absolutely. Which brings me on to, I'd like to find out a bit more about your, like, why did Deva and Miten come to you, and what was your experience that was able to help them at that time? I mean...
Well, you know, we knew each other. Miten knew that I did a bunch of things that he didn't do.
Right.
Like I was in business and he was in music, and that I was involved in financial things, planning and organising things. And so I guess without really knowing what I did, we got talking, and he asked, and Deva asked for some advice, and I helped them with it. And slowly, over the course of a year or two, we got to understand what each other what I could bring to the table, so that each other, they and I and my colleagues in the business, could work together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you were already in business at that time?
Yeah, I've had my business, Bell's Associates, since running since 1986. It's been going for 25 years.
Wow. And
it's done all sorts of weird and wonderful things over the years. Basically, it's been a business for me to work in as a business consultant and business development person. That's my interest and passion, is helping others develop their businesses.
Right.
We use the word enabling them. So when I meet with someone like Deva and Miten, we talk, I understand what they're doing, what they want to do, what they're good at doing, and we, in that process, figure out what they don't want to do, or perhaps what they're not able to do. And so me and my colleagues in the business bring other expertise to the table, so that the whole pie, if you like, of what a business comprises is supported.
Right.
So if someone needs financial help or marketing help or production help or distribution help, then we bring those skill sets and practices to the table to help them fulfill their dream.
Right, okay. So Bell's Associates has worked with, obviously, a lot more companies than just Deva and Miten, which is actually Prabhu Music.
Yeah, Bell's has a number of clients in different businesses. They're all in the holistic arena.
Right.
My personal interest is in the holistic arena, and so through that, our clients come from that area.
Right.
And my colleagues feel the same way. So, yeah, we have a number of other clients, but our most important client, and certainly the most rewarding client that we have, and to use the word client even sounds a little funny because Deva and I, and Miten and I, are such close friends that it's much more of a friendship thing than a business relationship.
Right.
But to use the business jargon, they are the business's most important client.
Right.
And to support that, we have a division in Bell's Associates called Prabhu Music, which handles all the work that we do with Deva and Miten.
Right, okay.
Under a music label branding. Yeah.
Right.
So if you buy one of their albums, you'll see it's produced by Prabhu Music.
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, I find it interesting what you just said there, that, you know, you're doing business with friends and it actually doesn't seem like business. I mean, to me, that's the way to do business. You know, it's more of a lifestyle, isn't it, than a I'm going to work. It's
absolutely a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, for me, that's how it's been for many, many years. That I do what I'm passionate about. I get involved helping people and working with people who I'm close to, friends with, and have a passion of supporting what their passion is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's really encouraging. Again, that word passion keeps coming up, and I think now's the time to be passionate about what you're doing.
I think if you're not passionate about what you're doing, then stop it and find something you are passionate about. Absolutely,
I agree, but I think a lot of people that go into business with this, I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to set up my business, and I think that model has changed from people that I've been speaking to over the last...
You know, it's always been a bit flawed, Anadi.
Of course.
What do we make money for? Money is an intermediary between A and B.
Of course.
But it is only one intermediary. There are many ways of getting from A to B without money. I'm the first to announce to anybody that money is really useful in getting from A to B. If you want to buy an airline ticket to fly from here to wherever, you need money for it.
Right.
However, if you've got a bit more time on your hands, maybe you can thumb a ride and get there. And that could be an equally interesting journey and cost a lot less. So it's a matter of what you really want to get. If the issue is making money and not getting from A to B, then I would question, what do you want the money for?
Good point. Yeah, very good point. Yeah. Well, that's great. Fantastic. So, Rajen, if you had any particular message that you could put into a sentence or a paragraph about the work you do, or the sort of energy behind the work you do, what would it be?
In a word or a paragraph?
Sentence or a paragraph?
Or a sentence or a paragraph. That's a difficult one.
It is a difficult
because,
one.
Personally, I enjoy a multifaceted aspect of the work I do. I love new challenges. I love solving new problems. And so there isn't any one single thing, other than the fact that I have to have this underpinning of passion in there. And I have to be honest with you, I'm not always passionate about everything that I'm doing. You know, there's sometimes when you're filling in a tax return or arguing with somebody over a contract that they've abused, then it's hard to find the passion.
Of course.
But underpinning those difficulties that everybody has in a business situation, the passion to move the work forward is still there. So that's a reassuring backstop. So the one word, the one sentence is there's got to be passion in there.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's a great place to end. Rajen, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, real pleasure for me to...
Thank you, Anadi.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great to talk to you.
Really good to talk to you. Thank you.